Hi everybody, it's Stephen Brook and welcome to Architectural Photography and Composition. When I first posted my YouTube video on historic preservation and architectural photography, the response was really huge. I was grateful to see it. People were inspired. They were doing their own work. But I've also had some emails and some notes, people wanting to do this but just not knowing how to go about it. And so in this video, I'm going to give you a complete plan to do an historic survey. Before we start though, I want to let you know about a new course that I have, The Business of Architectural Photography, because I have dozens and dozens of you have written in, not about the techniques of photography, but about how to run the business. How do I charge? How do I get clients? So I have no clients. How am I supposed to get clients? And I decided that since this was obviously an important issue, that I would put together this course on the business of architectural photography and cover everything from pricing and licensing, how to find clients, how to do a portfolio, in general, how to build your brand in a competitive world. Frankly, it's the course I wish that I had when I first started out. The link is in the description, and I encourage you, if you've been thinking about this and waiting and holding back, enroll today and let me help you to start building the career that you really want. So John Ruskin, the great British art historian and critic, said, "A nation's buildings must reflect and project its citizens' highest aspirations. Buildings embody the sculpture and moldings of the national soul. If the architecture of the present reflects a nation's highest values, so also does a nation's attitude towards its architectural heritage." And I have encouraged architectural photographers to use their services in service of architectural photography, that historic preservation should be a part of every architectural photographer's life. This way we can use our unique skills to enlighten communities, to bring about necessary awareness, and hopefully to affect real change in public policy, so we don't have things like this wonderful Art Deco building, the Senator Hotel, demolished in 1988. So I want to go over what I think is a good approach for architectural photographers interested in doing an historic survey. I have some of my students at the University of Miami doing special projects in their own communities, and this is the kind of program I put together for them. So here are the historic survey guidelines for architectural photographers. I'm reminded of George Foreman, the heavyweight champion, who said, "Plan your work and then work your plan." So here's your plan. Number one, before you start out, write an introduction. Have a statement which includes the importance of the region or the town or the city itself. And you'll be surprised, some people, even if they live in a community and they've been there forever, are unaware of the historical value of where they live. Unfortunately, this is the truth. The historical importance of the architecture and the neighborhoods specifically that you want to document, particularly if they're under threat by overdevelopment or climate change, and then who you are and why you are doing this. Put this together almost before you start out. It will help you organize what you're doing. Number two, set the dates for your survey. If you're going to do historic preservation work, yes, there's going to be early dates. Those are obvious. But how far you want to go, how far to the present time do you want to go? Do you want to do buildings all the way to the present, or do you want to stop at a certain point? Here, for example, is what I did in Rome. Of course, I did classical Rome and I did Christian Rome. But when it came to modern Rome, which had never been done, I called a halt at 1947 with the Stazione Termini. Why? Frankly, the buildings that were done, the modernist buildings that were done after 1947, I felt did not have the importance of the buildings that were done early in the 20th century. So I called a halt at 1947. And I'm doing the same thing in Coral Gables where I'm working. I'm interested in certain aspects of Coral Gables architecture, not the new stuff. Make a list of the important buildings. And I suggest categorizing them. What I'm doing, for example, in Miami: governmental, religious, monumental, educational, commercial buildings, and residential. This will give you a really good guideline so that you're not just looking at everything, yeah, there are all these buildings, how I'm going to handle this. Put them into categories. This will really help you organize. Next, decide on interiors, and usually if they're commercial interiors or anything like libraries, you're going to need permission to get in there to photograph. So you need that written statement to show somebody what it is you're doing and why you're doing it, so that they have no compunction about offering you the opportunity to photograph the interiors. Then get a really good site map and locate all your buildings. And it's important that you mark down what direction the main elevations face. And it's particularly important for north elevations and south elevations, because depending on the time of year that you're going to be photographing, the light, whether or not it's going to be on the north elevation, that's season dependent, as we've talked about in previous videos. So you need to have that program all set up so that you don't waste your time. You know where all the east-facing buildings are, all the west-facing buildings. You know obviously when to do those, and then you time your work so that you're working efficiently. The next thing, consider historic photographs or engravings. You may or may not want to use those. They might be good for guidelines, or you might want to revisit earlier views. I did this in Rome. This is Piranesi's view of the Roman Forum. This is my view of the Roman Forum. It's different, obviously, from Piranesi's. But when I did my book on views of Rome for Rizzoli, this is how I laid it out. I put my own view here, and then in my description, I mentioned something about Piranesi's view. Next, make good contacts. And again, your written statement is really important. I suggest you get some of these buildings photographed so that when you make your contacts, you have something good to show. You can go to local historic preservation boards, city councils, Rotary and other civic groups, chambers of commerce, architectural organizations like the AIA or ASID, and university and college departments. Let them know what you're doing and why. You never know who might be a terrific source of information for you. Let these groups know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Then figure out, here's, for example, this is a Coral Gables magazine article about George Merrick. And in this article, the Coral Gables Historic Society, they know that I'm doing this work. And when they wanted to do this article, they came to me because they knew I had really excellent photographs. So they put those in there. That's because I had made contacts with these people. And then think about your final presentation. You almost want to think about this from the very beginning, because then you can structure your work to fit what will be your final presentation. My preference is always to do a book. Online things are great, but a book, there's nothing like a book. And you decide, is it going to be in color or black and white? Or both. And if you're going to do both, how are you going to arrange that? These are serious considerations for your final presentation. An exhibition obviously is fun to do. Again, your contacts may provide you with an opportunity. Well, when you're finished, let's have a big exhibition of what you're going to do. If you get people behind you who may not have thought about the importance of doing this, you may be surprised at how quickly they will get on your bandwagon, especially because you are skilled architectural photographers and you are not doing snapshots. You are doing record photographs of your community. So here's your plan. Write an intro, set the dates, make a list of the buildings, get a good site map, consider historic photographs, make contacts, and plan your final presentation. So if this sounds like a good plan, please give this video a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. The videos are free. They'll always be free. And also, if you're going to do this historic preservation work, I'd be grateful to know what you're doing. There are already over 24 photographers all over the world who have contacted me and said, we're doing this work, we're doing that work, everywhere from Brazil to Eastern Europe, Australia. People, architectural photographers, are taking this mantle seriously, using our skills in service of architectural photography. This is something you can do that's really good for your community. And believe me, you will feel really good doing it. If you would like to kick your architectural photography into high gear, if you're just starting out, or maybe you're a little ways along and there's some things that you're not really sure about, my book, Architectural Photography and Composition, that's the single book you need. I promise there is everything in there that you need. Starting at the beginning, ending that book, you will produce absolutely high quality professional architectural photography. And if you prefer to learn another way, with a course, I have a 46-lesson course on Udemy for architectural photography and composition. We have some extra videos and extra bonus videos. It will take you from the very first day all the way through, and you will come out of that with the ability and confidence to do absolutely high quality professional architectural photography. I guarantee you, either the book or the course, and some people are doing both, I promise you, your work you will skyrocket in its and your abilities. Your work will be so much better. I guarantee it. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.